Wow. All right. Yeah. I just had to let my fucking shirt or new shirt. Okay, we're here. We are here. We're back. We're mostly just gonna do the usual stuff. Um, uh, Bioshock and PvZ. But first, we got to talk about Daredevil. um, yes. So I finally watched Daredevil: Born Again, and some important context here is the original Daredevil show is like my favorite show. Period. I love the original Daredevil show. Um, the only part of the original Daredevil show I would say is not very good is the back half of season 2. Back half when we're dealing with Elektra in the hand and all that. It's a very steep and noticeable drop off from all of the Punisher related stuff, talking about the morality of being a hero and killing versus non-killing, and the reliance of the judicial system still, and then his court trial too. All of that compared to the hand is it's like night and day. But yeah, I love the original Daredevil series. So I watched all 3 episodes last night, Born Again, and I'm gonna pull it up on my second monitor. I can't show you obviously, but I'm gonna pull it up on my second monitor just so I can skim through it and just kind of jog my brain a little bit. But I also I basically took notes because I messaged my friend a whole bunch of my initial thoughts. I'm gonna drag these over here actually just so I can look at them and then also see my OBS at the same time. And I also don't have my Twitch chat up. There we go. Twitch. Which working? Which not working? Okay, I was being dumb. I did not have Twitch. I did not have Twitch chat going, or I didn't have my Twitch stream going. So I'm gonna start over. Okay, let's try this again. So yeah, we're doing the regular stuff today. So we're doing PvZ and then some Bioshock 2, probably a lot of Bioshock 2 actually. We could honestly probably finish the whole game today if I wanted to. We'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, I want to talk about Daredevil. I want to talk about Daredevil Born Again. Because I watched all 3 episodes last night, and some brief context is the original Daredevil series is my favorite show, period. Love the original Daredevil series. I think Matt Murdock and his conflict dealing with his vigilantism, but also trying to be a lawyer and hoping that the system works, while also being a Catholic and dealing with that idea of, well, obviously all of these things are conflicting and these ideas are coming to a head, right? Yes. So that is the context of my thoughts on the original Daredevil series, for the most part. Then I guess the other minor context, right, is so obviously Daredevil and Kingpin have already been in the MCU for like 2-ish years now. Probably 2-ish years, right? So Daredevil shows up in No Way Home, and it's very, very brief, and he's great in that. He's fine. He's just it's a little sprinkle of seasoning, doesn't ruin him, and he's just totally in character. Perfect. Good. Don't overuse him, just let him be there for a couple seconds. Just let him do his thing. Great, awesome. Then we put him in She-Hulk. Yay. Everybody loves that. Luckily well, I guess the important part of noting that he was in She-Hulk is he has been doing this. He's still been Daredeviling for a good little while here. Like, even before Born Again starts, he's been Daredeviling for a good minute. So he's been out there. He's still been Daredeviling. Then Echo happens, right? Or no, Kingpin is in Hawkeye. I I haven't seen Hawkeye. The important part of note is that he has this surrogate daughter, Echo, who shoots him in the face, and then he just gets magically healed with magic bullshit. It's very stupid and goofy. Then in Echo's a show that existed that everybody forgot existed. Daredevil shows up in that for like one fight and then just kind of bails. So sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He shows up for like 5 seconds of that. Kingpin's in that, and yeah, it's like, oh, Echo's my surrogate daughter that I've had for all this time. And it's like, oh. That like fundamentally fucks with your character, because the whole thing is that you were lacking like a personal connection to somebody that you loved, right? That's kind of how Vanessa fills that gap and that role for him in the first season. That's kind of how that happens. That's crazy. Yeah, so with the exception of No Way Home, the other ones just kind of suck ass. We're just gonna mostly ignore them, even though this show acknowledges them. We're gonna mostly try and ignore them because like they're just kind of stupid. Okay, so Born Again starts. Also, we're spoiling the shit out of the show, so if you haven't seen it, figure that out. We're just gonna go start to finish though, just from basically start episode 1 to episode 3. I am not gonna have a lot of stuff to actually say about 2 and 3. I'm gonna have some brief stuff, but mostly talk about episode 1. Episode 1 is pretty bad. I don't think episode 1 is good. I think there's a lot of stupid, shitty things, and a lot of things where it's like, we're just not gonna address this, and we're not gonna address this, we're not gonna talk about this, and we're just gonna kind of skim past all of the context that is important to figure out where we're at and what has happened and what has occurred that is allowing the current events to happen. So let me bring it up real quick. So it's the so also interesting context I'm gonna add real quick before we start this is this show basically was like, it's been basically confirmed that it was a soft reboot of the series. Like, it was absolutely not supposed to tie in directly to the original show. It like they were gonna mention Foggy in passing and literally never mention Karen at all, and we were just gonna start basically where episode 2 of Born Again starts. We were just gonna fresh start. So this was not even meant to directly tie into the original show. Oh, you were catching up with the Bioshock viz. Yeah, no, when we're here during the day, there's usually light in my room, unfortunately. That's just kind of the nature of here. I'm actually going to turn that one off. I'm going to put on the... it's not going to be pitch dark, but we can choose some natural light. That's fine. But yes, welcome back, Brag Bash. We're talking about, Born Again. I have thoughts. So yeah, that's just interesting context. So the original idea for the show was not connected to the original show whatsoever. We're just basically fresh start. The only connection is going to be we're keeping the actors because everybody loves the casting, and that's fair. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are basically perfect. Like, yeah, they're basically perfect. So yeah, the start of the show is essentially a flashback. I don't have a mirror, actually. There's no mirror. No mirror. Just the poster. No way you're seeing a mirror. That's probably just my wall. Yeah, the walls. You can see the walls. That is true. Yeah. So the start of the show is basically a flashback, and it's Foggy and Karen and Matt, and they're all just, I guess, being normal. They're just doing their regular thing. They're going to Josie's, right? The bar. And yeah, so they're chatting. They just mostly kind of small talk. There's not a whole lot of context or anything really being thrown in here. The dialogue's fine. It's not as good. What do you mean no? It's fine. The dialogue's fine. But it's nothing of note. Like, at least between them three. where that was one of the strongest things of the original series, is their characterization and the dialogue between them and all their discussions is so good. That's what kind of makes the original show so good, is the dialogue and the interactions between the characters. So yeah, it's fine. It's just passable. And then they get in the bar, and actually, I'm just gonna cover the bar bit first. We get in the bar, and we're just kind of shoehorning in characters, kind of rapid fire here, and the show's just kind of acting like they've always been here, and these are regular characters that we know. Where it's I don't remember her name. Oh, Kirsten. Kirsten is this other attorney who works at the district attorney's office during this flashback. Then there's this cop dude named Cherry, and they're just kind of treated again like, oh, you know these people. We've always known these people. These are characters that you guys know. And it's like, no, literally never shown them to us before. They weren't in the original show. We're just acting kind of weird about it. And I guess of note, so Karen and Matt are sitting down at a table talking to each other, but again, it's kind of just light dialogue where it's, hey, are we gonna hook up? No, we're just friends now. And it's like, okay, sure, okay, I guess. And then Foggy's at the bar, talking to this other attorney, and they're just basically overhearing that conversation, and they're like flirting, right? Foggy, at least a little bit, right? Foggy and that other attorney are flirting, and Matt and Karen are just kind of joking about it. It's like, yeah, okay, this is fine. And then the cop dude that we're introduced to, Cherry, he is like, so they're like very over, like, oh, it's his retirement, but it feels natural that it's like, oh yeah, it's his retirement party. It's like, okay, sure, everybody's here for his retirement party, I guess. That's fine. But then the over kind of goofy part is, on the TV, they're talking about vigilantes in New York, and they're being like, they're showing this person called White Tiger, who is a character in the comics, and being like, look at White Tiger, stop this robbery, look at him go. And then Cherry's like, yeah, there's no room for cops anymore in New York. It's all about these vigilantes like Daredevil and White Tiger. And it's like, that's a weird selection, if I'm being honest. Daredevil, okay. At this point, Daredevil should have been around for... The timeline is very fucking messy and all over the place. Even if we assume that Matt got blipped, if we assume all of these people got blipped, Matt's still been in New York as a vigilante now for probably like 8 or 9 years, right? From the time the original series starts to when it ends is like 7-ish years. And then from fucking She-Hulk and Echo and No Way Home till now is another couple years. It's probably close to 10 years that he's been Daredevil. So like, okay, that one makes sense. Never heard of White Tiger before. Nobody's ever mentioned him. And oh yeah, maybe we would mention like Spider-Man. That makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? You know, the guy that like helped fight Thanos, or like Doctor Strange, who also helped fight Thanos, is a known New York resident. It's like weird choice. I wonder why they mentioned White Tiger. That's so strange. Anyway, it's just kind of, it's very clunky, right? And yeah, they're just mostly small talking. It's nothing really of note. It's all passable and serviceable, besides the kind of shoehorning in these new characters. And Foggy, they're also having a conversation, Foggy and the lawyer, about this client that he has that apparently is just like this goofy dumbass, right? And then he immediately gets a call from the goofy dumbass, and he goes outside and is talking to him. Oh, also context, Nelson, Murdoch, and Page, their firm together is a thing. So they already have a firm together. They all work together now. We can assume it's been a little bit that they've been doing this. And Foggy goes outside and he's talking to the dude on the phone, and the dude's like, oh, I think somebody's here to try and kill me. And Matt overhears this, obviously, because he's Daredevil. And then he goes outside with Karen, and they're like, hey, why didn't you tell me this earlier? And it's like, what do you mean, why didn't he tell you this? There's no way that he kept this from you. You guys work together in the firm, right? Like, you guys, this is your collective client. He's your client. And you have super mega hearing. There's no way you didn't hear Foggy, like, arrange with this dude to hide him out, especially when he's hiding at Foggy's apartment, like a block down, and Matt can like hear all the way over there, and it's like, you would know this. You would definitely know this. And Foggy's like, oh, I kept it from you so you wouldn't have to put on the suit. And then he's like, you shouldn't have, but okay. And it's like, yeah, you would definitely already know this, but sure, whatever. And again, we're super spoiling the show, so if you haven't seen it, big shit's gonna happen already. And it's gonna be important too. So Matt puts on the suit, and we'll talk. Do I want to talk about this or that first? I'll talk about that later because it's a whole show issue. Matt puts on the suit, right, and we see him suit up, and we don't see him like put on the suit, but we see him now on the rooftops, jumping roof to roof. And I swear to you, it looks so bad. It looks, if anybody remembers, because I've seen this movie so many times, it looks close to Spider-Man 1 from 2002. When he's jumping rooftop to rooftop in that, it looks almost worse than that, actually. You know what? I'm gonna go that far. It looks probably worse than that. Because in 2002 Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure only he's CG. Only Spider-Man's model is CG and looks goofy. In this show, when he's doing the parkour rooftop to rooftop, the rooftops are CG, and he's CG, and the background CG, and it looks really bad. All the CG throughout this entire show looks pretty bad. Like, just all the way, start to finish. It looks fucking bad. And then we finally, so it's mostly shrouded in, like, darkness, right, in shadows, so you don't see it too much, but, it's noticeably bad. You can see it, like, very rubbery, man. And then we finally see him in the light, and it looks so, like, the suit looks good. Let me asterisk, the suit looks pretty good. But him getting, like, when you see him enter the scene, it's the CGI parkour man, and he's, like, very rubbery, and, like, the physics don't work at all. And it's like, damn, y'all can just hire a dude to jump over these roofs. Like, he's not jumping, like, super rooftop to rooftop. It's the same, like, distance and parkour stuff that we had in the original show, where it was practical, and we saw him jumping and, like, weaving between all the stuff on the roofs. We've already done it. It's not that hard. Just do it practically. It looks so much better. Like, instead he's goofy rubber band man. Yeah, it's... I don't know why they decided to do that. It's stupid. It's almost like they knew they didn't have the budget for it, and they just did it anyways. Where it's like, surely it would be cheaper to just get a stunt double in the suit and have him be able to parkour. Like, get somebody who can parkour, who's a stunt double, and just have him hop between some of the buildings. That's it. Not that hard. Yeah, so it looks fucking bad. All the CG in this whole show looks bad. Yeah, so he has the suit on, and the suit looks pretty good. I could probably show you a picture of the suit. That's not gonna give me strict or anything, but I can't show you. I could probably not show you like any footage of the show. If I was like a big streamer, I could probably show you clips, but I'm not gonna risk that. Daredevil boarding suit. I will say, oh, this is kind of a dog shit image though. This is just like a casting. Okay, I don't see okay, there's the actual thing from the show. I can show you all this, right? There's nothing here of, okay, let me hop over here. So here we are. So here's what the suit looks like. Here's the scene where we get his reveal for the first time. And it looks good. It looks good. Here's the actual like on-set photo, right? So nice bright red. It doesn't have the D symbol yet, or the two Ds, which I'm okay with, honestly. I don't need it. I don't actually need the two Ds. I think it's okay without it. Everybody knows who Daredevil is, right? You don't need the D. It's okay. And then yeah, the red looks pretty nice. It's a nice like bright cherry red now. I think the black accents are pretty good. So the suit looks good. Here we go. Here's another shot. I think the suit looks pretty good. Okay, now I'll go back here. And he goes down the street to Foggy's apartment to try and stop this fight, whatever's happening, right? And then as he heads down the block, Bullseye shows up. We get a very brief, like, showing him get ready, Bullseye. And he's just like, he throws a little paperclip and it hits a fly, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cute. But then, so Bullseye shows up, and he just like, so Foggy and Karen are outside of the bar with like a few other people, and he just starts executing people, just pew pew pew, just fucking gunning people down, and he shoots Foggy in the fucking heart. And then he doesn't shoot Karen, which I feel like is actually a good note, because he knows Karen, and they've had interactions before, and it seems like he at least somewhat likes Karen. Maybe not like romantic or anything, but he has a fondness for Karen, so he does not shoot her, and he does the classic "Hello, Karen." That's what he says, right? It's like, okay, that's kind of cute. So this is what do I want to say? There is no context given to this attack all the way up to episode 3. There's so many things in the show where it's like, hey, this needs to be addressed. We need to talk about why this happened and how this happened, and the show just doesn't talk about it. So I'll hold off an asterisk. It's been 3 episodes. We are never told or shown why Bullseye does this. There's stuff like that too, where we've never told or shown why he does it. If it happens later in the series, okay. If it's a good explanation, fine. But why I have an issue with this is because I literally went back and I watched the ending of season 3 of Daredevil, and really Bullseye does not have a personal vendetta or grudge against Matt. He doesn't. He should have a very personal grudge and vendetta against Fisk at this point, against Wilson Fisk, because if anybody didn't remember, Wilson Fisk kills his like girlfriend that he was stalking, Bullseye, right? Bullseye was stalking this girl, and it was like his moral center, and Wilson Fisk has her killed, and he finds out, and then he goes and tries to kill Wilson Fisk, and then Wilson Fisk cripples him. He has a very, very, very strong personal grudge against Wilson Fisk at this point, and instead of going after him, he goes after Matt for some reason, just kind of out of nowhere, just tries to kill Foggy and Matt, and it's like, okay. I feel like your motivation's not there. Like, at the very, very least, you definitely would have attacked Wilson first. I can, that's why I'm like, if you give me a good explanation as to why he does this, okay, but I don't see his personal motivation to do this. I don't see it. So yeah, so Bullseye shows up, he straight up just shoots Foggy in the heart, and he shoots like a whole bunch of other people, and then Matt comes back finally, and he's, again, rubber CGI man, and he, like, grapples in with his little swingy baton, and he grabs him and he pushes him through the window. And then this fight is so strange. So they're in the bar, right? Him and Bullseye are in the bar, fighting. And there's something that's really bad CG, and I can't even tell what it is. So, Bullseye throws a smoke grenade into the bar, and the smoke grenade is very clearly CG. But I swear they're practically fighting in the bar. Him and Bullseye are practically fighting with choreography and everything. But I don't know if it's that the bar is CG for some reason, or if it's the CGI smoke that's around them that makes it look really bad, or if maybe because there's like a bunch of people running through the bar as they're fighting. So my thought is they might have separately shot the people running out of the bar and them fighting in the bar, and they CGI'd them into the shot of people running out of the bar. But either way, it looks really gross and kind of bad. And again, I swear though, they are practical. Though them two fighting and the choreography is practical. Even if they're CGI'd in, the actual fighting choreography looks good. So then that also brings me to the weird point that this fight is constantly being obscured by, like, just stuff. It doesn't feel like naturally obscured. It feels like the camera is like artificially hiding shit. Where it's like in the original Daredevil series, right? Like in the first hallway fight, right? It gets obscured. Some of the fight gets obscured, but it's very natural. The camera is like very steady in that whole hallway fight, with occasional panning into doorways, but very, very minor movements throughout the whole thing. So it's pretty consistent with, we're mainly showing the hallway, so if he jumps into a room or something, we're not really going to see what exactly happens in the room, but the fight ends up getting pulled out of the room, and then we'll see that part. But in this, it's like, nope, the camera's like moving to the back of the bar now behind these doors, so we don't see the fight for a little bit. And it's just so weird. The fight is so strange. Other thing of note, I feel like they just kind of forgot this. Daredevil's suit, all the way back at the end of season 1, all of the black areas of his suit were bulletproof, like fully bulletproof. Where in the beginning of season 2, Matt gets shot in the fucking forehead. He gets shot almost point blank in the forehead, and he lives. It gives him a concussion, but he lives. So this is an upgraded suit from that one, right? This is a better, newer fucking suit that, fucking stupid, but he got it from some suit maker in fucking She-Hulk, which is stupid. I'm trying not to say gamer words, but it's fucking stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. The point is, it should be a better, stronger suit. And Bullseye is throwing little knives at him, and all of the little knives are just going through the suit. And it's like, oh, huh, that's weird. That's fucking strange. Why is that happening? That's really weird. I don't know why he did that. That's odd. Yeah. So already kind of strange that any of this is like damaging him and going through the suit at all. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Then they take the fight from the bottom floor of the bar up to, like, there's a stairway in the bar, and in the stairway, I'm pretty sure nothing's CG, and it looks good. You can actually, they're practically fighting in the stairway, no weird CG fuckery, and it looks good. And that hallway, or that stairway bit is for like maybe 30 seconds, and then Bullseye goes up to the roof, like he knocks Matt over and then he goes up to the roof, and then we get CGI rubber Daredevil again, where he like jumps out of the stairway and then he baton rope things his way up to the rooftop, and he's fully CGI fighting Daredevil, or fighting Bullseye for like a good half of the rooftop part of the fight, and it looks not good at all. I do actually kind of like the ending of this though, where Matt is basically listening to Foggy's heartbeat, and then also Karen is trying to like stop the bleeding, right? And Matt is listening to Foggy die, and then he hears Foggy die, and he's up on the rooftop with Bullseye, and he basically has him defeated. And Matt's like crying and screaming, and he just kind of gives in. Like it's not even like out of anger. It's almost like out of defeat and just like grief, and he just throws Bullseye off the rooftop, and Bullseye fucking slams like 4 stories off the rooftop onto his head. That's like, oh, I kind of like that actually. I think that's pretty interesting. Where it's a different kind of crossing the line from what he had in Daredevil season 3, right? Where Daredevil season 3 is, I think I have to kill Wilson Fisk. I think that's the only way that I can put him away. Like, the only way that I can stop his reign of terror is that I have to kill him. And he's battling with that idea of, I don't have another choice. I have to kill him for the greater good. And he at the end of that season, he decides not to. And he says, no, like, I'm not going to let you control who I am. You don't get to do that. I get to decide what I'm going to do and who I am. But this is a very different scenario where he has Bullseye beat, like, completely. Bullseye's basically surrendered at this point, and he does not have to kill him whatsoever, but out of grief he just chooses to do it. And I think it's a very different kind of interesting line that he crosses. Obviously it's still killing somebody. Well, okay, also asterisk, Bullseye has some like healing factor, some bullshit now, so Matt doesn't know that though. So Matt actively tries to kill him. He throws him off the rooftop and tries to kill him. So I think, in morally speaking, he has still crossed that line. He attempted to kill him. But again, it's not out of necessity or trying to be this martyr that sacrifices his own morals and decisions for the people. It's just out of grief and anger he does it. So yeah, he tries to kill Bullseye. Bullseye falls off the roof, and then that's basically the end of the small asterisk. The cop Cherry sees Matt without his mask on. That's basically it. Yes, so Foggy's dead. Foggy's done. He's dead. Super dead. So I guess that we're also going to talk about that now. I don't think that's a bad decision to kill Foggy. I think it is a very dramatic decision for the start of the show. But if you're gonna kill him, you gotta really, really utilize the like 10-15 minutes that you had with Matt, Foggy, and Karen together. You better have some good dialogue and interactions between those three if you're gonna just off him. And which they do not. They chat very just kind of normally for a couple minutes, and then Foggy's off chatting with this girl at the bar. Yeah, so I think they definitely wasted the time that they had with Foggy. And again, important context that I think is worth noting. This show was originally not supposed to have any of them in it. Wasn't even supposed to connect to the original series. But what ends up happening is, from what I understand, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio directly were like, hey, this is not it. This is not going to be well received at all if we do this. So then they're finally like, okay, we'll get a new creative team in here and we'll staple on some episodes to try and correct that. So that first flashback bit was just not in the show. It was just going to take place later. That was it. So everything after this flashback is like, oh yeah, that was all intended. Regular episode, regular show stuff. Yeah. Weird decision. Very, very strange decision. Okay, so yeah, that happens. Then Matt has basically renounced being Daredevil, and they don't address the, they don't address his motivation immediately, but they do address it later. And he says when he tried to kill Bullseye, he feels like he lost the privilege to be Daredevil. I'm like, okay, actually, I think that's pretty good. I do like that. And the important part, too, is, like, Matt is a very broken, kind of just defeated person at this point. He no longer has that, like, anger, that strong fury that he deals with in the original show. And I think they actually set it up well, where it's like him crossing that line with Foggy's death, those two together just made him just defeated, and he has no anger left in him. Yeah. Also, we see Karen, so then the next thing is... they're at the courtroom. It's a year later, a year after the flashback, and they're at the courtroom, and Bullseye is being sentenced, and Matt is on the witness stand, and he basically says, "This is the closest we'll get to justice, but even then, it's still not enough, right? I'm never gonna get to see Foggy again." And Karen is there for it, and they meet outside the courtroom after he's sentenced, and he's sentenced to consecutive life sentences, and Karen's basically like, hey, you didn't talk to me for weeks. And it's like, okay, yes. Okay. But then Matt's like, hey, no, can we just, like, talk? Can we, not even, like, he's just like, as friends, can we just talk, please? And she's like, no, I don't think I can do that. And then we just never see her again. That's it. That's the last we see Karen. Karen's gone. Bye, Karen. The character that we have set up since episode 1 of the original series that was like one of the main characters, just poof, there she goes. Never gonna see her again. Very cool. Love that decision. Yeah. Let's see what else happens in the rest of this first episode. What other notes did I take? Like, I think that beginning flashback is really kind of rough. Let's see. So after... Oh, hold on. I guess while I'm trying to skim through it and figure out what else I want to talk about, the editing and the music and the cinematography are extremely distracting in this entire show. Every single episode 1 through 3, they all have the same problem of, they just are very, like, the original show it had its own, like, visual style. And it was not afraid to just very still, very, very solid shots of just, hey, we're having a conversation. We don't need all this extra shit going on. Here's just the conversation between these two people. Maybe a few different angles of it, but generally it is just stills of them talking out. Sometimes it's shots of both of them together. But this show really cannot fucking sit still. Like, it feels like it has ADHD cinematography, where the perfect example of this is... later in the episode, Wilson Fisk and Matt are sitting down at a diner talking, and they're just sitting down at a booth. They're just sitting there, one on one side, one on the other side, talking. And almost every single shot is either a slow zoom into one of them, or there's a shot that's also like, it's a pan of like both them sitting at the booth. And it's just like, I don't need any, like, calm down. It's distracting. It's like, we can just look at them. We don't need a bunch of movement of the camera for two people sitting down having a conversation. There's no like crazy actions happening either. It's just they're sitting down, mostly calmly having a discussion. I don't need the camera to be all over the place, okay? And that's another thing. This compared to the original show, there's so like the music will not shut up. It will never shut up in the show. Again, very just calm, normal conversations between two people, and always the music has to be just. My friend described it as CW music, and I think that is a perfect description of it. I think it is quite cringe and just like always insisting like, hey, ooh, music, like listen to music in the background. It's like, nope, I don't need that. There was even a scene, I don't remember what episode it was in. There was a scene where two of them were talking, and there's goofy music, and the goofy music fades out, and I go, perfect, get rid of it. Let me just listen to them talk, please. And then the music fades back in, and it's a new song, and I'm like, oh, come the fuck, just leave me alone. Let me listen to them talk, please. That's not to say that music is necessarily bad in talking scenes, but the music that they choose to do and when they choose to do it is very distracting, and I think it is for the worst for the show. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Kingpin has not been well, I don't even know. So Kingpin, to my understanding, in Hawkeye was like leading a criminal like enterprise. That's like, okay, all right, sure. And then Vanessa, so in Daredevil Born Again, Vanessa is now running the criminal side of Fisk's empire, basically. Let's see what's important here. Wilson's running for mayor now. Wilson Fisk is running for mayor. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, because how the fuck does that happen? How the absolute fuck does that happen? Matt gets set up on a blind date. They kind of hit it off, and he goes, okay. Then Matt basically, once he hears Wilson's running for mayor, he's like, we need to have a conversation. He just shows up and is like, we're going to talk. Which they do, and it's all right. The dialogue's okay. I think it's pretty serviceable and passable. Then Wilson wins. Well, those are like the important notes of the episode. Wilson Fisk wins the vote at the end of the episode. Damn, I just said I was going to talk about something. Oh, Wilson running for mayor. Okay, real quick before I get to that, because that's going to be a big thing. Two little things to note. I think this dude, what's Daniel, I think his name is, who's like one of Wilson's political assistant people, is just cringe. He's so fucking cringe. Every time he talks, it's like millennial shit, talking about memes, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear about this in my Daredevil show, okay? Please, get the fuck out of here. Don't talk to me. Don't associate. Just get out of here, please. And then also, what's her name? BB Urich, who I also got upset for a second when I heard that. I was like, better be a niece or a fucking cousin or something like that, because it's not his daughter. He didn't have a daughter. And luckily it's not his daughter. It is his niece. And I'm like, okay, fine. She's slightly cringe, but not as cringe as Daniel. Daniel's very cringe. Because they're both doing this like millennial new age shit. And I'm like, I don't need it. Please leave it alone. Just don't do that. And then yeah, they'll just cut to her. So she has like a news reports interview show, and it will just cut to it for like a minute at a time, just like in the middle of the episodes, and it's generally just kind of thrown in there to pad time. Like it's not really relevant. Nothing that anybody says in the interviews is like poignant or like of any substance. It's like, what do you think of Wilson Fisk as mayor? And it's like, I think he'll do an okay job, or no, I hate Wilson Fisk as mayor. I think he's gonna do a bad job. Yeah, it's always like vague and just not very well developed. So now we're gonna get to the big part. Wilson Fisk is running for mayor. No, the fuck he is not. Absolutely fucking not. No world does that happen. I even went back, like I said, I went back, because I was trying to watch through the whole show, the whole original 3 seasons, and probably a little bit of Defenders, just the important Daredevil bits. And I was just kind of running out of time. I kept dragging my feet, and I was like, okay, at this point I need to watch the show, and then I'll go back and I'll keep finishing the rest of the original show. So I went and I watched Born Again, but I did watch the last episode of season 3 to see where we stood, to like see, hey, how fucked was Wilson Fisk? And he is eviscerated, no chance whatsoever. So we're gonna take it from the top here. So last we see Wilson Fisk in season 3, at the end of Daredevil season 3, is he's being arrested by the police. And what exactly led to that is Special Agent Nadeem, who is one of our main characters in season 3, knowing that he's going to die, records a full confession of his activities and Wilson Fisk's activities, and him controlling the FBI. Like multiple agents of the FBI, ordering people to be killed, having multiple people be killed. That gets sent out, and also specifically mentioned to be legally admissible in court. So it's not even like, oh, it's just a publicity thing. It's like, no, this is hard evidence. So that gets sent out to everyone in New York. It gets published by the Bulletin, and we see everybody pulling up their phones and seeing this video. So everyone has seen this shit, specifically saying that Wilson Fisk ordered like the killing of multiple people and had infiltrated and controlled the FBI. So everybody should know about this, right? And on top of that, the district attorney, the new district attorney, specifically says all of New York knows Fisk's game now, and we will not allow him to play the system anymore. That is exactly what he says. So, oh, no, Wilson's pretty done. And on top of that, right? On top of that, it is specifically mentioned that Special Agent in Charge Hadley, who was basically running all the FBI agents underneath Wilson Fisk, is flipping on Fisk and is going to be in court and flip on him. So he's super cooked. Like, he is eviscerated, right? And on top of all this, if you even want to be like, well, no, Wilson Fisk has all this legal jujitsu, right? I was like, okay, I would have liked to have heard that. However, the reason that Wilson Fisk gives up and does not run away, remember, is that Matt specifically says that he has evidence of Vanessa ordering the death of Agent Ray Nadeem, and if Wilson comes after anybody, but I feel like it's not a fair, I feel like it is a very fair extension to say, if you break out of jail and then also start being a super criminal again, I will bring this evidence to the police and Vanessa will go to jail for murder. That is the ultimatum that Matt gives him of, you're gonna stop what you're doing, you're gonna give yourself in, or Vanessa goes away for murder. That is their conversation that they have at the end, and Wilson says, okay, we have a deal, fine. They literally shake hands on it. And remember, established in Echo and in She-Hulk, Matt's still been daredeviling this whole time. He's not been snapped. He's been around daredeviling. So Wilson taking over this goofy fucking criminal empire in Hawkeye, and Vanessa also being in charge of the criminal empire in this show, is like, no, bull fucking shit. Matt is keeping tabs on both of them for sure, and the second they step out of line, Matt just goes, hey, you want me to bring this evidence up? You want to do this? That's all he has to do. Be like, I still have this. Do you want her to go away or not? What's going on? So basically, Wilson Fisk is super fucked in terms of how much legal evidence of multiple counts of murder are stacked against him. He should be in jail for basically forever. And on top of that, if he breaks out and starts doing anything that Matt doesn't like again, now I don't think it's going to extend to like, I don't want you to be mayor, but if you're completely legit, like I don't think he's just going to be like, I don't want you to be mayor, so you can't do it. But as soon as Wilson's doing this crime shit again, like, no, yeah, you're cooked. Like, well, Vanessa's going to jail. So yeah, no, none of this should happen. There's no fucking way there's no way he should be out of prison. There's no way he should be able to be doing any kind of criminal enterprise, or Vanessa doing any kind of criminal enterprise. And there's no way he should be getting voted in for mayor because everybody saw the video saying that he had multiple counts of murder against him, and there was a whole trial where the fucking special agent FBI person in charge directly corroborated all that. So, no, not happening. Absolutely fucking not. It's not happening. Yeah, and I already went into the show being like, that's a really, really bad and stupid idea. But if you address it directly, like if you address this issue directly and you talk about it and you write it so that it's like, well, no, actually, he's doing everything legit. He has, like, everything's fine and he hasn't been doing any crime or anything like that. And he somehow has gotten out of prison on some technicality that Matt can't really counter. Wilson Fisk for mayor, yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, the phrase in the show is Fisk can fix it, and it's like, okay, sure, man. Yeah, you would have to do some very good writing and jumping through hoops to make it so that A, he's out of prison, and B, people want to vote for him. You would really have to struggle. So again, I'm on the page. It seems to be implied that they have rigged the vote somehow. It is implied, right? So sure, if you want to say like, okay, they rigged the vote, that's how he won. I don't even understand how he gets like on the ballot or anything. People, like, everybody should have such a negative impression of him. Don't even forget that he already went to jail once for all this shit. For all of this crime shit, he went to jail already. For this criminal empire, he went to jail. Then he was under FBI supervision as an informant in season 3, still in jail, but basically in that penthouse that was supposed to be his prison, but he infiltrated and started controlling the FBI, so he basically got all the permissions he wants. So he was still like under incarceration while he did all this shit and got all these FBI people killed. There's no fucking way. There's like no way he should be out of prison. And everybody should know about this too. It's very public. So like, you know, absolutely not. Okay, that's the biggest issue the show has, is I think this starting episode and the foundation is pretty weak and bad. That's the main issue. Jumping into, let's see, is there any other notes that I had that was important on this episode? Oh, something I do want to talk about. Little known character, John Walker from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which that show sucks ass. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that show, right? John Walker, U.S. agent, well, not U.S. agent in the show, but the Captain America that was decided to be Captain America at the time. Something very similar happens between John Walker and between Daredevil in this show. And one of them is super mega villain and the other one is totally cool. They both have their best friend killed right in front of them, and they essentially have completely fought the person that killed them to a point that they can no longer fight back, and then they both, one of them successfully, but the other one totally attempts to kill them. Both of them, almost identical situations, try and kill the person that just killed their best friend, even though they're no longer fighting back. And Matt decides upon himself that he crossed that rule, so he shouldn't be Daredevil. But the show is not like, oh no, he's a bad guy now. He did a bad thing. He shouldn't be. No, he can't do that. The show's not saying that. And John Walker, the show's like, ooh, he's evil. Look at him, he's evil. It's like, nah, I feel like he definitely was just, you know. Sorry, John Walker's a whole nother thing where it's like, John Walker's cool and complicated. He's like the best part of that show. And everybody's like, oh, he's evil. Look at him. He's got blood on the shield. There was scary music. And it's like, no, it's actually pretty morally complicated, actually. I don't think he's strictly evil for that. Also, that was a superpowered terrorist that he fought as well, like with super soldier serum. This wasn't even that. This was just man with good throwing ability that can regenerate. But he didn't know he can regenerate either. So, yeah, interesting, isn't it? Okay. So I think that's most of it for episode 1. Yeah, that's most of it for episode 1. Okay. Episode 2. I actually liked episode 2 and episode 3. That's kind of the spoiler here. was very surprised by the amount of restraint that was in episodes 2 and 3. I was 100% already thinking, oh great, we're gonna see Matt put on the suit by the end of episode 2 here, where he's going to stop the people that are trying to get this informant, right? Honestly, there's not too much of note in episodes 2 and 3. Like, I don't think they're great. I like them more than I don't. I would probably give them both like a 6, maybe 6.5, probably like a 6 to 6.5. I'm like, I like them. They're not amazing, but I like them. I think the entire thing. So basically the overarching plot of episodes 2 and 3 is that there's this guy that he tries to stop. There's this dude getting beaten up, right, by these two people, and the guy sees it happening and he's like, "Hey, stop! Like, leave him alone." They keep beating him up. So then, and they're also on a subway platform. That's important. They start fight. Like, he pulls them off him, and they start all fighting. And the dude that was getting beaten up runs away. And as they're fighting, one of them falls in front of the train and gets fucking splattered. And it's like, oh shit, okay. But it wasn't intentional by the guy that stopped the fight. He more just like tripped and fell in front of the train. But then the other dude reveals, oh, we're cops, and now I'm putting you under arrest and you're fucked. So that dude gets arrested, and then they're like beating the shit out of him, right? Because everyone thinks he killed the cop. So they're beating the shit out of him, and like the police station, Matt hears it, so then he goes and he represents him. And then we learn, oh, this dude's actually the vigilante White Tiger, who we very well, like, we set him up so well in episode 1. That's some sarcasm. They just kind of shoehorned him in there. But honestly, they really they shouldn't have even done that. They shouldn't have mentioned him in episode 1. I think it would have been totally fine if we just hear about him in episode 2 as like a low-level kind of starting off vigilante. I think that would have been fine. Maybe not even say he's been around for like 6 months or something like that. That'd be good. Then it's like, okay, he's not really super well known, but we do have a track record that we can go find afterwards, because that's going to be important later too. Basically, Matt's trying to represent him and trying to defend him in court and be like, no, he didn't kill him, because obviously you can tell that he can hear his heartbeat, know that he's telling the truth. So it's a very interesting premise of Matt having to represent a vigilante, and then basically the court goes south, where the witness then flips and is like, no, I didn't see anything. And then eventually Matt has to reveal, no, this dude is White Tiger, and he has a track record of helping police. He does not have any animosity towards the police. There's multiple evidential, like, there's hard evidence in police reports that he has helped a lot of people in the past, including police officers. So this pattern makes no sense. And it's like, okay, that's actually interesting. And I thought the courtroom scenes were good. I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad. I actually kind of like some of these lines of argument. I think they're pretty good. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, okay, yeah, that's all right. What else is important? In the end of episode 2, they're trying to kill the informant, and Matt gets there first and just gets the informant out of there. And then Matt ends up having to fight the two corrupt cops, and the fight's actually pretty restrained as well. And he's just in his like suit. And I'd say A, the fight's restrained, and B, it's not like Matt poking at them like, oh, I'm gonna fight you. It's like, no, they start fighting him first, which also, this is kind of crazy. The blind lawyer, right, who like is publicly defending this person at this point, they put him, like, they have him at gunpoint, or like, we're gonna kill you if you don't tell us where you took him. And it's like, how are you gonna get away with that? He's a fucking lawyer. You're telling me, yeah, no, there's no way they would ever get away with that. I thought that part was kind of goofy. But Matt starts fighting them, and it's actually a very quick fight, and it's pretty, it's not just like, ooh, look at how good this fight is. It's just like, oh yeah, no, it's very quick and clean. It's like maybe a minute long, maybe. It's like, oh, okay, all right, kind of restrained here. You didn't put on the suit or anything. Okay, all right, I can do that. Then episode 3, yeah, it's the actual, or at the end of episode 2 is basically revealing, I think it's the end of episode 2. No, the end of episode 2 was him fighting the guys. So it's like halfway through episode 3, he has to reveal that he's White Tiger, because otherwise they're going to lose the case. And then by the end of it, they get him off, he's declared not guilty. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we did it. That's awesome. And then, but also a subtle thing that we see, not subtle actually, very not subtle. Actually, I'm gonna totally take that back. Totally not subtle. Zoomed in on every time. There's certain cops that have a Punisher tattoo on their neck, and I'm actually like, I could totally buy that actually. That Punisher would start a kind of cult following of, oh yeah, we need to just kill criminals. Like the judicial system is kind of corrupt, and sometimes they get off, so we just gotta kill them. I'm like, yeah, I could see that actually happening. Yeah, so there's certain cops that have the Punisher tattoo, and then at the end of the episode, White Tiger's released, right? He puts on his costume. Also, he has a magic amulet, by the way, that gives him superpowers. And he has the magic amulet on and the suit, and he is going out about to do crime, and somebody just walks up behind him and shoots him in the head. And it's like, oh, huh. I mean, I'm not on the page of like, it's impossible that you're not bulletproof, but I'm like, I feel like you gotta be some kind of bullet resistant or something, bro. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I think it just would have been easily improved if he didn't have the suit on, and we see him just like walking home, like, I don't know, because instead of putting on the suit, because he also isn't supposed to put the suit back on. It's like, hey, everybody knows you're White Tiger now, and vigilantes are still outlawed. That's still a thing. So yeah, you probably shouldn't put the suit on. So I feel like it would have worked a lot better if it was a very somber moment of him just like, because they mentioned that he just he just put it down on an apartment for him and his wife. So maybe he's oh, okay, hold on. Let me see what I can do. Okay, the only thing I can do. Let me see what I can do about that. Output. Because it's my secondary output, so I'm trying to see what I can do about that. Drop threshold. I'm not even sure what I could do. I could, like, if I really wanted to, I could switch Twitch to be my primary, and then have YouTube as my secondary, and that would just make YouTube laggy instead. But then I probably have to stop streaming for a minute to do that, to switch them. Yeah, I'm dual casting to both. So hold on, let me see if YouTube's also lagging, because if it is, then it's just my internet. No, YouTube's fine. Yeah, no, it's saying it's poor connection. I can, very slight chance this works, and this might just drop stream anyways. Let me try something real quick. There's a good chance this will just kill stream, but we'll see real quick. We still here. Are we still here? Are we still here? YouTube's still here. Which is not loading now. That's not good. Let me pull up my phone, I guess. Let me pull up my mobile dashboard. Okay, it says I'm still live. Is it any better? My browser is no longer showing my Twitch, but was it an open new one? Is it any better though? I'm watching chat. Oh. Nope, now it says no session, no viewers. Uh-oh. Okay, it's not even letting me stream to Twitch now. Everything's falling apart. It's so sad. We're definitely just troubleshooting right now. Hold on. No, hitting start's not doing shit. Like again, I can flip them, but that's not gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna, for the YouTube people, we're gonna stop streaming for like 1 second.